all the important things. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Dunn. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Student Life. Um, and I am your last know before you go. I have no guests today. It's all me. So I will be talking about all things opening week. I'm going to show you what I can see on my end in terms of a calendar. And so I think what I'll start with is that part actually is let's get rid of the sound. I'm going to share first of all, because this may actually answer some of the questions as we go. So let's see. I'm going to share my screens here. Need to pull down the screen I want to share with you. Hang on one moment, please. I've had a very adventurous weekend. As you can see, I am ill prepared for the start. I don't know, you can see I've had some amazing summer adventures here that I'm sure are going to continue to plague me for opening week. But all right, you should be seeing on the screen, you should see a calendar that looks pretty blank. That's on purpose. I want you to show you exactly where you are. We are here, August 11th. And if we flip just 1 week, you will start to see all this light purple showing up. This is our early arrivals. So our fall sport athletes and our new international students start to come in next week. We start to see that group pop in, which is super exciting. Campus is very eager to have new students arriving on our campus. So we start that this time next week. We will have new student athletes on campus. And then we go one more week out, and woo, this calendar gets busy. I'm going to turn off one part of it, which is our family orientation, and leave just the new student orientation. And we're going to look at it in kind of chunks, and in 2-day chunks is probably the best way for us to be thinking about it. So if you are not a fall sport athlete or you are not a new international student, your move-in day or your check-in day, if you're not moving on to campus, is August 26th, Wednesday, August 26th. And you can see we have the day fully planned for you. We're going to start the day with check-in. So everybody needs to check in at the Reed Campus Center. So that happens at 9 a.m. And that is whether you are if you're living on, so all first year and new transfer students that are living on campus need to do the check-in, and they need to do it before their move-in group. So if you're in the 10 a.m. move-in group, we'd want you checking in at 9. If you're in the 11 a.m. move-in group, no need to get in line beforehand. You'll have plenty of time to get through check-in and make it for your move-in time starting at 11. These are the earliest you can move in. There's been quite a few questions to me individually, like, what if I'm not getting to town until 1 o'clock? That's fine. You can move in at 1 o'clock, but this is the earliest of the move-in times. The other question that sometimes comes up is, what if I'm not done moving in at 11? That's okay. We're just staggering kind of the hallways and the in and out. It takes about, what we've heard from students in the past, is it takes about 60 to 90 minutes to get all their stuff from the car and into the space. And so we've done it like this, a staggered start for quite a few years, and it's worked out well for us. So, don't mess around too much with things that work well. At 3 o'clock, there will be your first OWL meetup. You should have received an email inviting you to either a WhatsApp chat or a group meet chat for your OWL group. The OWL stands for Opening Week Leader. So this is your Opening Week Leaders group. And you have a number. All the OWLs have a numbered group. But you're going to meet up with your OWL for the first time at 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And then we have our incoming student class photo right there. This is the first of the bookends because 4 years from almost 4 years from now, you'll then take your graduation photo at the same location. So we have this opportunity to recreate what will eventually be happening 4 years from now. For those students living on campus, you'll have your first section dinner at 5 o'clock. And then we have quite a bit of programming on Wednesday evening. So if your families are in town, this is a pretty crucial programming night. We believe that there are some things that you need to know before you stay overnight for the first time. And so this is not something we want you skipping out on. You will note residence hall programming is marked with an asterisk. Asterisks indicate mandatory, that we're expecting students to participate in those events. Let me see if I can just kick forward one day at a time. I think so. Oh, nope, I can't. All right, so let's slide over here onto Thursday. So if Wednesday is move-in check-in day, Thursday is advising day. So you will be doing all things advising. So in the morning, primarily, you're going to be doing group advising. There's info sessions about 3-2 program and languages and chemistry and pre-health and all of the info sessions so that you can begin to develop kind of the knowledge base you need for your individual advising appointment, which happens in the afternoon. In between the group advising activities and the individual advising activities, you'll meet with your owl. Most of the owls, 30 of the 32 owls, are organized around their first year seminar section or your gens section. And so you're actually going to meet in the room where you're going to be taking your first year seminar. And then the owls will take you from that location. You'll meet your faculty member who's teaching your first year seminar course. And then from that location, they're going to take you on a resource tour around campus to make sure you're connected with, where's the writing center? Where's disability access services? Where's the tutoring? Where do I get tutoring? So that you've been to those places and they start to become familiar for you. Individual advising appointments, those are in the works of being assigned and will be in your check-in materials. It will tell you who your advisor is, where you're meeting your advisor, and what time. And so it's really important, obviously, on Wednesday that you come through check-in because that's where you're going to get that information. And then in the later afternoon of Thursday, we have what is referred to as our welcome and convocation. So this is an all campus, all faculty, all staff, all students that are on campus will join us for the welcome, where we will be welcoming the newest members to our community. And then directly following that is our family farewell reception. In the evening, we have a program that is managed through the res halls. If students aren't in the res halls, there's opportunities for them to participate at a particular location. Jason Kilmer has been a speaker on our campus for, I think, almost 30 years. So he is incredible, is well received. Students ask for him to come back. He does often come back in the school year, but we will have Jason Kilmer live. The other thing that happens on Thursday, and I'm going to do a little toggle here, is that we try to get your families oriented. I know there's a few family members on this call, but we try to get your family members kind of up to speed on our systems and activities as well. If you are a new student athlete, regardless of what sport you play, on Wednesday afternoon there is a reception for new student athletes and their families. That happens on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we spend time getting your family, while you're off doing your advising, we're going to keep your family busy and entertained in family orientation. And we have a number of sessions and opportunities for families to connect with one another, to learn about the Whitman community, the Walla Walla community. And then we obviously want them at the welcome as well. So we send them on their way so that they can be part of the audience that is greeting our new students as they they process into the big, large auditorium for us to welcome you. On Friday, Wednesday is move-in and check-in day. Thursday is advising day. Friday is registration. So students will register in the morning on Friday. The transfer students will go very first. So students that are enrolling as true transfer students, meaning they were at another institution between high school and now. And so this is only students that were admitted as transfer students. So there's lots of students that have running start or maybe took credits in college credits in high school. But these are the true transfers will be the first group to register. So they'll register in that 8 to 9 o'clock block. And then everybody else, all other new students are randomly assigned from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The your specific registration time will be in your check-in folder. So again, more reason for you to make sure you come through check-in. And then from 10 a.m. until 1:30, those transfer students that registered first are going to do some specific transfer programming to really help them build a community. We have about 45 transfer students. This is our largest transfer student class ever. So excited to really help them build a community and help them get oriented to a place that may be a little bit different than where they've come from. In the afternoon on Friday, we've got two opportunities to continue to engage and get connected with community. We have an activity called Play Fair, which probably the too long don't read description is it's speed friending. So a great opportunity through an interactive process to meet new people, find people that have similar interests to you, and get really connected to our community. And then for those students that are interested in sorority and fraternity life, there will be an info session in that afternoon. In the evening, we have a social called Night at Reed. My office is in Reed. That's where I am right now. Night at Reed is probably best described as a takeover or house party. The whole building is used. It is great fun, and it is run by our programming board, which is a student-run board that plans all sorts of activities and events throughout the semester and year. On Saturday, we've got a set of workshops that students are expected to participate in, our Consent and Healthy Relationships workshop and our Inclusive Excellence workshop. Students attend based on where their residence hall is. So students living in Jewett and Lyman will go to one, and students living in Anderson and Prentice will go to one, and then they'll switch. If you're a transfer student living in not either of those halls, you will be assigned to one of those. So our expectation is that you will be attending those, but maybe not tied directly to your particular living space. You'll lunch with your owls. In the afternoon, there's an opportunity. We have a soccer game in the early afternoon of on Saturday, and the athletic department is hosting the class down at the fields and providing snacks and yard games and soccer, and again, another opportunity just to get yourself connected with our community. If you are one of the students who signed up for Whitman Experience and were assigned to a Woot trip, our Woot trips leave at 4:30 on Saturday, and they return around that time on Sunday for their Experience Whitman program. For those students that are not going on a Woot trip, there is the outdoor movie night opportunity. And then for students that are in the Experience Whitman program, they have an evening with the telescopes as an opportunity for students who signed up for Life, the Universe, and Everything Else. As their Experience Whitman, they have some pretty cool, only can happen in the late night part of the day. So there's opportunities there as well. And then on Sunday, we run a series of programs called Experience Whitman. These are optional. You don't have to attend these, but we'd love for you to attend these. We still have 5 that have space available in them. And so that is Life, the Universe, and Everything Else. That is our science STEM sampler. That is one that actually leaves campus for part of this time. We have a program called Beyond Land Acknowledgement. It is also one that leaves campus and goes to an adjacent area of campus. think of this kind of as field trip style, but it goes to kind of the award-winning Temasclet Cultural Institute and to the Walla Walla Mission. So they're gone most of the day, the Beyond Land Acknowledgement. There's Q Camp, which is for our queer identifying students, a great opportunity to build community. If you are a student who is queer identifying and wants to find folks that have similar identities, that would be a great opportunity. And then the other two are launching into leadership, which is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to give you a jump start boot camp into leadership opportunities on campus. And then the last one is Act and Argue, which is run by our debate program, and is kind of a crash course, super fun in Act and Argue. And again, if you haven't yet signed up, there's spaces left in all of those, and we will try to accommodate everyone in those opportunities. And then finally, the Sunday late evening activity is the Glow Up Dance, hosted in collaboration with our Check It program, which is our student-run bystander intervention program, Res Life, and student activities, and a super fun social. And then Monday is our student activities fair. So if you're interested in getting involved in clubs or want to check out club sports or want to see what all the opportunities are, we host a club fair on Monday, the 31st. You have your final gathering with your owl in the afternoon. And then the final opportunity of the day is meeting the CCEC, your career coach. That usually has good snacks, I should say. So definitely put that one on your schedule. I believe that you should have gotten well, you got an email from me on Monday about the career coaches, and you should start receiving information from your specific career coach soon if you haven't already. So that is the big overview. Couple more things fall a little bit outside of opening week. But classes start on September 1st, so we have classes on that day. We have a program in that afternoon about getting a campus job. So if you're a student who needs a campus job, there will be opportunities for you to talk to potential employers at the How to Get a Campus Job conversation. And then on Thursday, September 3rd, now we're like 2 or 3 days into classes, we host a student wellness and academic support services fair. So there will be professional staff from the ARC and disability support and the cows and the library and the outdoor program and the health center. Anybody that kind of puts in their head that they are part of student wellness and academic support will be at the support services fair. And that is on the front side of the library in the shade. And I definitely know that there are treats and yumminess happening at that activity. So I am going to stop there, stop my little share, and I am going to turn myself to your questions. Let me get a couple more pieces opened up here. Okay, so let's start at the top. Do athletes have to have a physical? I believe you have to have provided at least a medical history. I'm not sure about a full physical. As a person who started their career here in athletics, not a bad idea to get a physical before you start playing sports. Might I add that I've had a little activity here that uh, you should make sure you get yourself checked out. But probably the best place to get that answer is to speak directly to your coach, or look for any of the information from the athletic training team. The athletic trainers, certified trainers, should have been reaching out to you about any kind of medical documentation or medical forms that you need to have in before you uh, begin participation. Okay. So I'm just going to work my way down these questions. So the first question is, are both our students and roommates and their families going to be unpacking and settling at the rooms at the same time? Yes. So the way the move-in times are set is if you are on the third or fourth floor of a building, heat rises, third or fourth floor, you're going to be in that first move-in group at 10. And if you are on the first floor or second floor of a building, you're going to be in typically that second move-in time. If the building only has 3 floors, I don't know how they split that. But the roommate pairs will have the same move-in time. And that's really good actually because you don't want to run there and grab the inner room or the better bed or what like whatever. You want to have had some conversation with your roommate to kind of negotiate that. So it'd be really important to think about having getting ready to have those conversations and not like first come first get activity. It'll build a better roommate relationship if you negotiate that maybe in person. But yeah, there will be a little bit of traffic in and out of your room with, if both families are there and both students are there, there's lots, which is why it doesn't take very long to get most students loaded into a space. Okay. How tightly do you expect opening week to be packed in terms of free time, exploring campus, setting up dorms, etc.? You saw the calendar, so there's definitely downtime, certainly around meals. And we've tried to kind of leave some of the afternoons pretty much empty in case students need to make a shopping run or just need to rest or whatnot. Experience Whitman is an optional activity, so that's all day on Sunday. I really think it's important for you to get connected with folks that have similar interests to you, so I would encourage you to really think about attending that as much as possible. But to the extent that you need a little downtime, that would be a place to have some downtime. I'm gonna go back to the calendar here and pull up the front part of the week so you can see. Um, Hang on, I got to figure out where my share button is. So particularly, it will not take on Wednesday. It will not take all this time to check in and move in. So you'll definitely have some downtime around that. Um, you're only going to have in this individual advising appointments. You only are going to have for you a 30-minute block. So in a 3-hour block, you're only going to be busy during a 30-minute chunk of that, and so you'll have some exploration time there. We left time after the family farewell dinner in case persons wanted to, if in families wanted to go out to dinner or have some additional last minute times with each other. Similar on Friday morning, your registration block of time is pretty short. It's like a, 15 or 20-minute block of time. And so you're only going to be registering for a little bit of that time. And then, Friday is, aside from registration, pretty flexible for folks to do exploration. Saturday, if there's a packed day, it maybe is the most packed day, but we let you sleep in. We do want you to attend these two workshops. And then the things in the afternoon at the fields, outdoor movie night, those are all optional. You don't need to attend them if that isn't your vibe. And then again, we've already talked about Experience Whitman. So we've heard from folks that it's too packed. We've worked hard to kind of continue to unbundle some of that or decompress it a little bit. So hopefully we're getting kind of the right mix of what you need before you start classes and also what you need in terms of exploration, downtime, walking around, all of that. Okay. There's a question about this calendar in particular. This calendar is publicly available. I don't actually 100% know how students get to that. Let me see if I can do some level of exploration while I'm on this call with you. I think I can put in the public facing URL. So let me get my shareable link. I'm going to copy that link and now I'm going to put it in the chat here. But I don't know how you get it, but here's the link that is publicly facing. This also imports directly to the college's calendar, and we do have a printed copy for both students and families of their respective orientations. Okay, next question. If our student requested a WOOT and did not get assigned to one, but got an experience, can they switch to a different experience if they want? Yeah, if we have space, we're happy to move people around. Probably the best thing to do is have your student directly email me indicating what they're in and what they would like to move to. We've got a little bit of wiggle room that we can move students around for a little bit here. Are parents expected to depart on Friday? Morning. Well, we do host this thing called the Family Farewell Reception on Thursday afternoon. We're going to keep your students pretty busy. I will say it's important for your student to establish themselves on campus. And so if you're lingering around while they're registering or lingering around while they're trying to do advising, it's going to be hard for them to really begin to advocate for themselves and be independent. So I'm not going to tell you must leave the city limits, but just know we're going to try to keep your students pretty busy. And our main goal is that we get them integrated into our community, connected with lots of folks. So if they're continuing to go off campus to do things with you as a family member, it's really hard for us to meet that objective during opening week. So that is important. Okay, there's a question about if I'm interested in playing a fall sport, um, what are the options? So Whitman runs a couple of different levels of athletic participation. We run our varsity athletic participation, that is a NCAA Division III, typically recruited athletes. So if you're playing a fall sport athlete as a varsity athlete, you know when you're coming, who your coach is, all of that. We also offer club sports, which are student organized and student run. They do receive funding from the college, and they often leave campus to compete against other institutions near or regionally around the area. So, for instance, both of our ultimate teams are gender diverse, and our men's ultimate teams are club sports. Alpine and Nordic skiing are club sports. Softball, women's softball is club sport. We have co-ed volleyball as a club sport. Um, I think that is all of that. Oh, climbing, our climbing team is a club sport. And then, so varsity, club sport, and then the kind of lowest level of, maybe not the lowest level, kind of maybe the most flexible of them is intramurals. Intramurals compete against each other on campus, so it's on campus participation. It is also student run. It is our largest student organization is intramurals. So you know, residence halls compete against each other, and they offer a wide variety of opportunities, both in kind of league style or seasons, but also weekends. So they might have like a weekend spike ball tournament or a weekend cornhole tournament, kind of some one-offs that happen throughout the semester. If you're looking to play a varsity sport and you haven't been in contact with someone from the athletic department, probably email me and I will connect you with the appropriate coach. So there's a question about will I be sending out the schedule or when will I be sending out the schedule? So the schedule is out. You can find it right now if you go to the new student orientation webpage. Let me show you how to get there. I apologize. I'm typing one-handed. Thankfully, I broke the correct elbow to be able to do that activity. So, but it is a little slow going for me this week. Okay. All right, so here's the new student orientation page. I literally Googled new student orientation, Whitman College. That's how I get to this page every single time. So here is our new student orientation page. If you click on this area, it gives you all sorts of important things. Fall orientation is where you're going to find the schedule, but if your parents are on this call or you want to know how we're going to keep them busy, but all of this is about that. And then we've got some information here. Oops, I thought the calendar was here. My apologies. Let me open up the calendar. We do print out a pretty skeleton form for students. The students also receive it in a digital form during check-in. I've misspelled something here. But if you also type in calendar@whitman.edu, that will take you to the college's main calendar. And then you can filter specifically for new student orientation from this page. So that's an option for you as well. The filter right here, I believe, let's see. The event type is orientation, and then that will take you to all of the orientation stuff. So you can see pretty much everything I talked about is in this form. So this is one way to look at it. The publicly available URL is the other way to look at it. And then finally, there will be a very skeleton. This thing is happening here at this time, paper printout for students that need it in that shape. Okay. Is there any, okay, so there's a question about meningitis shots. Is any chance meningitis shots are available on campus? I believe that they actually have all the required vaccinations that you're required to have before you come to campus on site and administrable on site. So when you do the check-in at the Reed Campus Center, one of the stops is you're checking in with the staff from the health center, and they are actually checking to make sure you've done what we've asked you to do. And if for some reason it's not available in your area, or you need to have some test or vaccination administered to you, they'll be able to administer it for you during check-in. So you will have that option. Okay, let's see. So what specific events are parents allowed to attend during orientation week? What I'm gonna You've seen me do this before. I'm going to put on a different hat. It's my parent hat. And it will not be helpful for you or for your student if you attend their advising appointment, their registration appointment. It is going to be very difficult for them to really make that transition to campus. If there is some extenuating circumstance in which they need you there, I would strongly suggest you have them email me. But our expectation is families are doing family orientation and students are doing student orientation. It's designed that way. The single overlap is welcome and the family farewell. So we're expecting all the students and all the families to go to the welcome, and all the students and all the families to go to the farewell. But aside from that, there's very little overlap, quite frankly, on purpose, because it's our job to get your student ready for their first day of classes. And that can be sometimes a little more difficult if parents are in tow throughout. Obviously, parents are welcome to help with move-in. You don't have to help with move-in, but your kid might appreciate you helping with move-in. I've already been flagged by my child who is moving in for his last semester. I don't know how helpful I'm going to be, but returning students move in on the 28th. So there's move-in happening, but we expect the students to attend the workshops that are in the residence halls, with other students. We expect the students to go to their OWL groups without their families in tow. But again, if there is some extenuating circumstance where it would be very difficult for the student to go to those things without a parent close by, then have your student message me directly so that we can make sure we've got appropriate accommodations in place. Okay, let's see. Am I able to say what the numbers are? I sure am able to say what the numbers are because I look at them every single day. So we are currently expecting 488 students, 45 of whom are transfer students. So that leaves us a balance of about 440-ish in the balance. We have some students that we haven't heard anything from, like they haven't submitted their photo, they haven't recorded their name, they didn't fill out the housing survey. So we're expecting a few more students to probably decide not to come to Whitman. But for right now, we've been holding steady right around 480, 488, with the 45 of those being new transfer students. So not only new students, but new transfer students. Almost everybody, there's a handful of students that are living either are local and are living at home, or transfer students that are living in non-Whitman owned properties. But the majority of those folks are moving in also. So I think we have something like 460, 450 people that are expected to be moving in on move-in day. And returning students again move in on Friday, August 28th. Okay. I see all the questions about smoke, and I'm going to do them all at once because I had a meeting today all about that. Um, so I will make sure. Is it okay to start sending things to Amazon from Amazon to campus? Yes, it is. What I will tell you is we have a tiny little post office. They have to actually reserve a whole nother big space on campus to accommodate the post office overflow. So the other thing is, if you're buying it at your home and shipping it to us, you might think about waiting and buying it locally. We have a Walmart, we've got a Ross's, we've got a Marshall's. So we've got the kinds of things where you could, get a lamp or get a fan or whatever. Those kinds of things are available in town. And there's some time, you'll have time even on your move-in day to either take public transportation to one of those places or ride to one of those locations to pick up something that you might have needed. The other thing to know is that the post office is located in the campus center, but is only open Monday through Friday from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. They'll have slightly different days or slightly different hours on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of opening week, but they will not be open on the weekend. So they will not be open on the 30th or 31st on the weekend. Amazon also has boxes on campus. I think I've been calling them Horatio, but that's not the name. The name of the box on campus or place where you can send things to a box on campus is Honorario. So I'll put that in. But if you've ever sent, I've used these on campus. But the name of the Amazon box where they put it in a box for you and you go with a code and unlock the box and get your thing is called Honorario, and it's over by our dining facility. So it's centrally located, easy to get stuff from. But yes, please start getting stuff sent, but be mindful about that. There was a question about how big of an item can I send? I would strongly recommend you to think about that because you are going to be the person that is moving whatever size that item is from the campus center to your residence hall. And so, be thoughtful about how much you want to lug across campus. There's a limited number of little hand carts that can move things. So just be thoughtful about that as you're thinking about it. Okay, another question about schedules. So again, students will have a schedule in their check-in information. They'll have it available on a digital app that we have for them. It's posted all over campus through QRs, so they'll have lots of access to the schedule. It will be hard to miss something. They'll have so much access to the schedule. Okay, will flu and COVID vaccines be available to students through Campus Health later in the fall? Yes, we run a flu clinic for our students and a shot clinic. The college has done that. They partner with a local pharmacy. It's been a great opportunity. And last year they did have both flu and COVID. That's where I got my flu and COVID shot. So, yeah, and there's tons of information that goes out for students to get those done. Is there any additional information about move in, where we go, etc.? Yeah. So if you start at the Reed Campus Center, so start with your check-in at the campus center, you'll get a map, you'll get as you work your way through all the little check-in parts, the last thing you get is the map showing you, okay, you're here, you need to drive your car there, or walk there, and we'll get you oriented that way. And then in the family welcome area, there is also maps that help students and families get organized about where they go next. But really, for students, the best place to start is at the campus center. Okay. Are class registration periods in person or are they online? They are in person. So you will come to the campus center. Um, we are the center of campus. We do all things. You'll come to the campus center at your assigned time. There'll be opportunities for you to continue to connect with your advisor and other faculty in person. And then at your assigned time, you'll go to the registration room. You'll sit at a little kiosk. You'll do your registration right there. There will be people all around to help. And what I would say is, if if you're a parent on the call, this harkens back to what many of us might remember as arena scheduling. Arena style scheduling is what the college is electing to do this year. So yes, in person. All right. Okay. I'm holding all these. Do you have data on where most students are coming from? I don't, but spoiler alert, it is going to be something that is articulated in detail at the welcome. Our admissions director, VP for admissions and enrollment, does a fabulous kind of who are our new students, and he does very much the most students came from X or the furthest came from here, nearest from here, this many countries represented. So that you just you're going to hear all about that at welcome. So I hope you begin thinking about that. Okay, when do you recommend we start buying stuff to prepare for college dorm life? Here's what I would say: less is more. And if you're the parents out there, let me tell you this: your student doesn't need everything you think your student needs. And I would be really, really important for you to be talking with your student about what they think they need, as opposed to saying, "I think you need a throw rug and an extra storage thing and a blah blah blah," because they may not need that, and that actually might be overwhelming in terms of having to make that level of decision making before they come to campus. It might be better to bring what you need: your clothes, your toiletries, your computer, your stuffies, your whatever, and connect with your roommate and say, "Huh, what do we need? We need a throw rug, or we need an extra little storage thing," and work on that together. As opposed to kind of coming with this expectation that you're going to set things up in a particular way. Um, we've done our best to kind of give you a sense of what a standard room looks like, but based on corners of buildings and where bathrooms are, and sometimes the furniture is in a little bit of a different location than what it might have looked like on the particular room. And so it's helpful for you to maybe not like overthink this. I also have heard stories that sometimes you buy a lot of stuff and none of that stuff gets opened or used by your student. And because once they get here and figured out, they're like, "Oh, I don't really need this thing," and it gets kind of put aside or just takes up room that they don't have. And everything that moves in also needs to move out. And so you can pay yourself forward for May. There is storage available in every residence hall, but not a lot. And there's some things that they don't permit in the storage facility or storage spaces, such as mini fridges. So, which is why we rent them out to students, because we cover the cost of storing them over the summer and managing all of that for managing the inventory for the campus. So, I would just be thoughtful about that. Again, Walla Walla has big box stores that have all of these things, and easy 2-day Amazon, 1-day Amazon from here. We've got distribution areas in Spokane and the Tri-Cities. So it's, as a person who frequently uses Amazon, I can get things the next day on campus or at home. So it's not problematic here. Okay, I'm down to the last two questions. I knew these were coming, and so I just want to. I've held on to these two. If you're following the news, you might know that there are pretty large fires north of us in Spokane. We ourselves also have a fire that's a little southeast of us. There's nothing really immediate right around the campus. But because of how the campus situates, we sometimes get smoke in, and it can kind of sit and linger. My meeting earlier today was with the emergency plan leadership team. We were talking exactly about this. What is our game plan for dealing with smoke? First of all, we have a lot of places on campus that are air conditioned and have good conditioned and filtered air spaces that students will have access to, including their academic spaces. So all of their academic spaces are in air conditioned space. So classes, it would be pretty rare for a class to be canceled due to smoke, in part because the spaces where classes are held are some of our best, conditioned spaces on campus. If it hits a certain AQI, like a 300 or above, my guess is the campus would shut down entirely. We're working on information that we will have available at both the family tables and at student check-in that essentially articulates that level. So at AQI 100, what are we going to do? In AQI 300, what are we going to do? And what kind of modifications we will be making to the campus program in general. We will have N95 masks available for both families and students. It's supposed to rain here next week, which is fabulous and super great for dealing with smoke. So we're hoping that all of that gets sorted out. But we do have a backup plan. We're ready to execute on that should we need to. And if you're a person who is super sensitive, very, maybe asthma and had really struggles with asthma or other kinds of respiratory issues, one thing you might want to think about for your room is like an air purifier. I think they call them air scrubbers, that could help filter your air directly in your immediate room. The other thing we deal with in August, in addition to smoke, is heat. It can be a little warm here in Walla Walla, and the combo of these can be a little dicey for us to be thinking about. So the other thing I would say is probably a must-have or must-bring is a fan. Most of our residence halls are not air conditioned, and so having a fan, having an air purifier, those would both be good things to consider having. We're going to deploy a large number of kind of box fans throughout, but we don't have enough to put one in every single room. And so, be thoughtful about what you might need for your own comfort level. The nice thing about the heat in this area is if we're not dealing with smoke, when you open your windows at night, it does cool down quite a bit. So it's the combo of the two that really has us thinking about how to stay prepared for our students' arrival here in just 2 weeks. Will any of the WOOT trips be affected by fires? It's possible. Yeah, 100%. And the WOOT trips and athletics follow a very specific kind of AQI expectation. And it's based entirely on the Northwest sports conference, because we have some conference regulations about athletic participation in different types of AQI. And our outdoor program follows that as well. In fact, all of our kind of outdoor classes, outdoor field trips, the athletic program, and then our outdoor program will all be following that real specific guideline. And so that's something just to be aware of. And we'll have some lead time on thinking about that. We've had a good opportunity to predict about how long it will take for an area to clear out of smoke. And we have backup plans. So we will try to get as many of the trips off and on their way. But if we have to pivot and do something different at the last minute, we are prepared to do so, and we'll execute on that for student safety. All right. How much are the mini fridges? Let me talk about the mini fridges. So we have about 100 mini fridges that we rent out on an annual basis. They rent for $80 for the whole academic year, 25 of which, so 25 of the 80 is a refundable deposit. So it's our way of making sure we get it back clean, dry, defrosted, working, all of that. students will pay for their fridge at the student activities office. And then they'll go pick it up. We don't have them here in the office, but they'll go to the fridge garage to pick up their fridge. And then they'll return it in May. It is charged to the student's student account. So it goes on the same statement that tuition and room and board and everything goes on. And it's up to the student to pay that off or pay it down. They can go to the office and pay it down, or they can get a job on campus and work and then pay it down. Students may have some scholarships that cover that. I'm not entirely sure what students' how the financial aid pays out, but it may pay out enough to cover that as well. Okay, there's a question. Does Jewett have an elevator? Yes, it does. It has one elevator for like 150 people. So if you're on the second floor, use the stairs if you can. If you're on the third or fourth floor, you're going to probably just have to wait to get use of the elevator. So you'll have to think about what things can go up at the elevator and what things you might want to take up the stairs. But all of our residence halls have no, not all of our residence halls have elevator. Jewett has an elevator. Anderson has an elevator. Prentice has an elevator. Lyman does not have an elevator. So if you're in Lyman and you're on the third floor, you will be going up the stairs for Lyman. There's a question about, so a question is, we've submitted a request for the fridge. So if you submitted a request for the fridge, we have a fridge reserved for you. We have closed the form because we have as many reservations as we can handle. And so you'll get an email later this week from me about fridges, all things fridges, and instructions about what do you need to do on move-in day to get your receipt to then go pick up your fridge. And there's a map on the back of the receipt for you to get to the fridge garage. The fridge garage is on campus. It's kind of located halfway between Jewett Lyman and Anderson Prentice, maybe a little bit closer to Anderson Prentice. It's close to the dining hall. And we have hand carts and little trolleys and stuff for students to use to take the refrigerator wherever they're going. So there'll be more instructions to come, but you can be assured that if you submitted a fridge request form, we have a fridge request reserved in your name. Okay, I have arrived to the end of the questions, and wow, good job, you all. We did almost as many questions as they did last week, and it was just me all by myself. So, last call, I guess. Last call for questions. I am super excited. This is one of my favorite times of the year. Can't wait for you. We've been spending all summer getting ready for you, and I hope that shows when you arrive, that we have been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Our entire campus comes out to support you and help you. We've got something like 80 to 90 volunteers that are all over campus, in their yellow volunteer shirts, so they're easy to find. And that way we can help you get situated as soon as possible. If someone is okay, a few more questions. All right, so I will just say I'll stay here and answer questions for as long as you need me to. If you have a hard stop at 5 and you're jumping off, thank you. I appreciate you sticking with me all summer. I really do enjoy what I do. I enjoy welcoming new students. This will be the 34th group of students I've welcomed to our campus, so I'm super excited. And can't wait to see you all, some of you even starting next week. So, okay, so a few more questions. If someone is on a wait list for a hall, so the way I'm reading this is they're in one hall and they really want to be in a different hall. How likely is it? We do have a few students that will not show up, right? And so there might be a little bit of wiggle room. It's possible to switch at mid-semester. Again, not all students come back for the spring semester. Students move, particularly in Prentice. Some students, either move into the sorority sections or become RAs and they are moved elsewhere around campus. So I would say there typically is more wiggle room at the mid-semester than there is at the beginning of the semester. But I would encourage your student to, talk with their Res Life staff about what they need and what's important. And I would also say, give it a try. like lean in a little bit to being in a new place with new people. Sometimes our halls get kind of a reputation for being a this kind of hall or that kind of hall. Keep in mind, it's only that because of the people who live there, and you are new people living there, and so you can define it in any which way you want. So don't imagine it to be last year's res hall, because last year's res hall had last year's residents in it, and this is going to be your res hall. So a new opportunity for you to establish. Is it possible to get floor plans of a specific room which is not available through pictures? That is a res life question. I know that is a challenge in part because each room is slightly different. I don't know what level detail they have of, I know they have like a rectangle with blocks on it that has room numbers, but it doesn't tell you kind of it's this wide by this long and this is where the dresser is or this is where the bed is. So I'm not sure how helpful the level of floor plans that they might have would be. Again, I would really just encourage you, bring what you know essentially that you need and check out your room before you decide you need all the other stuff. Our student, okay, so this is a question about early arrival. Our student is an athlete. They move into Douglas or Stanton next week, and then again they move into their permanent residence on move-in day. So we deal with our early arrivals slightly different. They're not in their permanent housing in that early arrival window, starting as early as Monday or Sunday through move-in day, and then we do some magic on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning to get them situated to go into their permanent space on Wednesday morning. So I think, let's see. I think I answered all that question. Let me double check. Our student is an athlete. They move into Douglas. How should we plan on setting up for the dorms? Do we help them? Their temporary setup is pretty much a bed. I don't think you need to do a whole lot in their temporary setup. About the only thing they're going to do there is sleep. I would not spend any time getting their temporary place set up. I would hold off on their doing their permanent space. If you're only coming to drop them off for early arrival and not coming back or doing something different on move-in day, there are plenty of folks that are able to help them. All of the returning students on their team pitch in, and so they will be well supported and able to get kind of settled into their permanent space on Wednesday along with all the other students. Okay, now I think I am officially at the end. I appreciate all your questions. It actually helps us think about how to do better for next year. So at 2 minutes to 5, I'm gonna call it. And oh, one more question: how much time do each student have to talk with their advisors? I think they're 30-minute slots. Don't quote me on that, but it's like 30 or maybe 35-minute slots. And so yeah, and there's each advisor is going to be meeting with something like 5 students. So I think they'll be able to work it out. Plus they have all the info session and time in the morning. And then also on Friday around registration, their advisor will also be present while the students are registering. Okay, now I think I'm officially done. I appreciate you all. Can't wait to meet you in person here in just a couple of weeks. Please introduce yourself to me. It's been fun watching all the names on the webinar, so I feel like I'm starting to get to know some of you, and looking forward to see you in just like 2 weeks. So have a great rest of your summer. Stay cool, stay out of the smoke. Don't forget to bring a fan and maybe an air purifier if you need one. So take care. Bye-bye, everybody.